And Jake, I'm going to hand this over to you in just a second. Crystal wanted to pop in real quick. We just wanted to, once again, just together, thank everyone for coming tonight. And she's here for like 2 seconds, and then we're going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to remind everybody that you have an opportunity to win. We're going to announce a winner at the end of the call. So make sure that you go over to Business Builders and you enter a sticker in, because you now get a chance to just by participating to win. And at the end of the call, right before we're finished, we're going to announce the winner. We also have the Business Builders in a Box giveaway, and so that is like a $350 box, which also includes an Oli Tools subscription. Nice. So yeah, so we're super excited to give that away, and we'll talk about at the very end how you can get your entry in for that as well.
All right, so no further ado, we're going to hand this over to Jake Dempsey, Crown Diamond Leader in Young Living. Excellent.
And our friends.
Yes, our friend, excellent husband, great father, and can't wait to see him in 3 weeks. Where are you going to be in 3 weeks, Jake?
Right here.
Right there, the
men's advance.
Now, guys, we didn't plan this, but I was going to remind you too. So it's kind of a big thing on our hearts. And so if you haven't gotten your husband or gotten your husband to get his friends to the men's advance, you need to do that. And I'm going to be quiet. Jake, this is your call.
All right, before we jump into comp, I'll tell you, since we're on the topic of men's advance. So Dallas was the last men's advance, 5-0, and it was actually my first men's advance. I hadn't been able to make any of the previous men's advance, and part of what you do at men's advance, you kind of create these, these lofty goals you want to go back home to work on, and it can be fitness related or family related or business related. And my big challenge in my life and in my family of being a father and a husband is being what I call a peaceful leader. So I'm a little bit animated, which means that I get a little bit animated, and I struggle with being a peaceful leader. So what I've been working on since 5-0 is trying to just bring more peace to my leadership in the home. And Verick and Les and Andy, who run Advance, man, it's an amazing thing. If you haven't been, if you're a guy, or if your husband hasn't been, it's fun. You learn a lot. It's very Christ-centered, but we eat a lot, have a lot of fun. We fellowship as guys. So if they haven't been, encourage them to go. It's in Atlanta. It's coming up in a few weeks. If they can't make this one, there'll be another one, I think, in February. It's actually an amazing time. So just want to give you that plug, Eric. That's why I wore my shirt. I was like, I got to wear my men's advance shirt if I'm doing a call for Verick. So Verick and Crystal asked me to do this call tonight and go through the comp plan. And before we jump in, I just want to prepare you that this is kind of fast and furious because there's a lot of stuff to cover. But you guys are probably aware, and I think Verick and Crystal had told you about the Driven for Success book. I brought one just to show the front of it. If you have this book, then everything that we're going to cover tonight is in this book in some form or fashion. If you don't have this book, everything we're going to cover tonight is in this book in some form or fashion. And I'll talk through a little bit about the book as we're kind of going through the different pieces of the comp plan and how the book can help you understand the comp plan in more detail. And I've got a PowerPoint we're going to use to go through. I'll share my screen in just a second. Feel free to take screenshots or pictures of the screen with your phone to capture those images. I'll actually export the PowerPoint as a PDF document and give that to Verick and Crystal after the call. If I don't do it tonight, it may be tomorrow. And they can distribute that out to you guys so you have a digital copy of the actual PowerPoint we're going to review tonight. It's got a lot of content in it that you can use for yourself, share with your team, whatever you want to do with it. Just be nice with it. All right, so let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, it says I'm sharing. Someone nod if they can see it. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to hit play, and what I don't know is if it's going to still work that way. Let's see. Is it still working? Nice. Awesome. So Driven for Success, that's really the content we're going over. I wrote the book, honestly, out of everything I learned from Oily Tools over the course of, 3 years. we have a compensation pamphlet that Young Living gives us, and I read that pamphlet like most everyone else, and I would find that there were just these little nuances in the compensation plan that weren't really described in that document. And when we built Oily Tools, we were constantly refining our algorithms based on this new information that we would find out about the compensation plan. So after really 3 years of working every single day with the Young Living comp plan, I thought it would be a great idea to actually write a book to help everyone else understand the compensation plan. And my goal was really to write something that was easy to digest, so not be a really large book, and also be very conversational. So when you read the book, it should read like I'm just sitting here with you and we're talking about the comp plan. And with a funny quick story is I gave the book after I initially wrote it to my copywriter or copy editor, and they made, oh my God, I don't want to say thousands, but at least hundreds of actual edits to the book. And they changed the tone of the book. And I explained to him after that no, you can't change the tone. It should sound like we're just chatting about the comp plan, and I'm teaching them about the comp plan, not be it like a dry math book. I mean, math is already boring enough for most people. So she went back through, re-edited it, and fixed just my grammar and spelling issues. And that's what we have today as a book. It's 80 pages. Broken into chapters. There's also a free book study we'll talk about later that you can use with yourself or your team. That's online. It's completely free. And then every chapter is broken into these exercises, and you'll actually see some of the exercises as a part of the presentation today. So let's see if I can get this to work now. So the first thing we'll talk about are definitions. Now, some people know these definitions. If you know them, awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back. There's probably some people on the call that don't actually know them, or they're a little confused on what certain things mean. So we're going to create a baseline. So the first thing we talk about is PV. This is a real nerdy definition, a currency agnostic number. All that means is that it's not the price of the product. It's just a number. But that number is what Young Living uses to calculate commissions. So when you look at a PSK, for example, in the United States, a PSK is $160, and it's worth 100 PV. So when Young Living calculates your commissions on that starter kit, they use 100 PV, not the $160. So PV is really this agnostic value for commissionable sales that Young Living uses to calculate commissions. That's what you really need to know about PV. Now, why do they do this? The prime reason they do it is because when you're in a different market, the price is never the same as PV. It's just we're lucky in the U.S. that most of the time our product's price is the same as our product's PV. But if you go to any other market that Young Living sells in, the PV and the price they're never the same. So the PV is this generic value they use for calculating commissions. That way, if something is sold in Canada or Australia or Europe, the value to calculate commissions on is the same. OGV is just the cumulative PV of your entire team. We just take everybody in your team, add up all the PV for each person in their orders, and that gives you the OGV. And then we have PGV. This is the one I think that trips most people up. And I can tell you, like without hesitation, I've answered numerous emails from people who actually missed the rank of silver because they did not understand PGV. It's a very important thing to understand. So you've got your PV, you've got your OGV. Your PGV is if you take all the PV in the legs that are not qualifying legs and add it up. That's called PGV. So a good example is, let's say you're an executive and you're going for silver. And let's just pretend you have 3 legs and you have 2 legs trying to help you get to silver. That third leg, when you add up all the PV in that leg plus your own PV, that's your PGV. Now, the thing that you should, look out for, and I see this all the time, is if you have an executive in your team, or if you're an executive, you have to make sure that you have 1,000 PGV outside of just the leg requirements you need to make silver. So I've seen, this isn't a joke, I've seen a person at executive get 10,000 OGV, which is the requirement for silver, have 2 legs, each of those legs having over 4,000, which is a requirement for silver, but they actually had more like 5,000 in each leg that got them to the 10,000. But when you added up their actual PGV, the PV outside of those qualifying legs, they didn't have 1,000 and they missed the rank of silver. So it's actually really crucial to know what that PGV value is. It actually has no bearing on commissions. We don't use PGV ever when calculating commissions, but it's very important for rank. Rank is tied to commission, so that's why I always like to talk about it with people so that they get a good handle on what that PGV is. It's always a good idea as you're growing in Young Living. You should always run a report in Oily Tools to say, give me all my executives with whatever, pick a number, 8 to 10,000 in OGV and less than 1,000 in PGV. PGV is so they don't run into this issue of potentially missing out on getting silver. This next thing is an exercise. So usually I do these exercises and let people write down, and I'm going to actually do these with you here on the call, mainly for brevity. But this is an example of an exercise you would find in the book. So in the book, we're looking at a sample downline, same as it's actually this exact example. And you've got this person at the top who is silver, and you've got these qualifying legs that are, they just have a square around them to show you these are considered qualifying legs. If you wanted to find the PV, well, that's this person's PV. That's 100. And I don't know if you can see my mouse, so I'll try to speak as I'm pointing. If you wanted to know the OGV, you would just add up the PVs of all these people in this downline and add them up, including yourself. That's the OGV. And if you wanted the PGV, you would add up yourself plus these two, and that would give you the PGV. Now, this is a totally simulated downline, and this person actually wouldn't be silver because there's not enough, volume in these legs, but it's just to give you an idea of understanding of where these three numbers are coming from. Rank qualification. So we talked about PGV primarily because I want to show this. Young Living's got their own graphic for it. I like this for some reason. It works better with my brain. But you've got a PV requirement for every rank. You have an OGV requirement for most ranks. You have a leg OGV requirement, and all that means, like an executive, is that you have to have 2 legs, and each of those legs must have 1,000 OGV. And then you have the PGV requirement. And if you notice, the PGV requirement for every rank for silver all the way to royal is 1,000. It's just the most crucial time to really pay attention to PGV that I've seen is going from executive to silver because you're not really aware of it. Most of the time, as you rise in ranks, your actual Young Living order gets larger, so it's less. It's not as much work per se to get to the 1,000 PGV that you need. And hopefully, when we all hit royal, then we're doing our own PGV. We're drinking niche and taking baths in it. So qualification. How do you get paid in Young Living? There's really 3 criteria for you to get paid in Young Living. And the first is you have to place 50 PV. If you place an order for 50 PV, that makes you eligible for customer commissions. Some people call them retail commission, but customer commissions and enroller-based compensation, which is the fast start bonus and the starter kit bonus. So if you place a 50 PV order, you can get paid on those, what we call commission structures. Commissions on customers, fast start, and the PSK bonus. Now at 100 PV, that actually unlocks the unilevel commission and generation bonus and generation commission if you're a rank of silver or higher. The next criteria is still 100 PV, but it's 100 PV on essential rewards. If you have 100 PV on essential rewards, it qualifies you for the Rising Star Team bonus, which I'm going to talk a lot about a little bit later because I think it's actually the most foundational commission bonus structure that we have in Young Living for you to structure your business properly. Like, if there's one thing you learn tonight, learn the Rising Star, because it's what will help you duplicate your business and grow a fantastic business. Now, what I suggest to people is that if you're placing PV with Young Living but not on Essential Rewards, if you just move to Essential Rewards and do 100 PV on Essential Rewards, by the time you add up all the bonuses that you get, the shipping options that we get, the gifts that we now get for being on ER for a certain period of time, it's really a wash. But by doing 100 PV on ER, you qualify for every potential commission and bonus structure that Young Living offers. That way you won't run into a situation where you place the APV order, didn't make the level, or generation bonus or generation leadership commission. So you really want to get to a place where you can commit to doing your PV on ER month, make sure you qualify for any commission that has to offer. First thing we'll talk about is custom commissions. There's actually a misconception here. Most people persons PV on customer commissions, and that's actually not entirely true. It's not far from true, but it's not entirely true. What you actually get paid on is the difference between wholesale and retail. Now, most of the time, that's 24%, right? Most of the time, the difference between the wholesale price of one of our products and the retail price is 24%. But that's actually not always true. There's some products that Young Living has where the difference between wholesale and retail is not 24%. So I just tell people that what you earn on customer commissions is about 24%. And what you really want to explain is you make the difference between wholesale and retail. Another thing that level compensation on retail customers as well, meaning if you have a retail customer on your level 2, you actually make 8% on that retail customer. It's not documented anywhere, and I don't know if it's formally part of our compensation plan, but I do know that it exists. And to check it, you could always go into your VO, look at your previous checks, and if you have a customer on your level 2, if you go into the unilevel breakdown and find that person on your level 2, you'll see that you actually earned a type of unilevel commission on that retail customer. Dynamic compression, which I haven't talked about yet, we are going to get into, but it's just a note to say that dynamic compression does not impact customer commissions on level 2 and above. Meaning, if someone's on your level 3, they potentially can compress to the 8% level on level 2, but someone on level 2 cannot compress to the 24% on level 1. And we'll talk about compression in just a few minutes. And then to qualify for the retail customer commission, you have to place a 50 PV order. Start living bonus. This is one we're all very familiar with. When you enroll a new member, and that new member purchases a premium starter kit in the same calendar month, this is super important. Because if you, for example, work to sign someone up on the last day of the month, now this is less problematic than it used to be, because used to you could sign up and not buy anything, if you remember. But now you go through the actual purchase process in order to get your member number. But it still can happen that someone signs up and doesn't purchase a kit, failed credit card, or some other there's some other nuances that can cause that. But all that to say, they have to purchase a premium starter kit in the same calendar month that they enroll with Young Living. And this is an enroller-based bonus, so the enroller is going to get this one-time $25 cash bonus. Basic kits don't apply. And as you know, there's multiple premium starter kits. It's not just the typical PSK that we're used to with the oils and the diffuser. There's a Thieves, I think there's a Thieves premium starter kit. I think there's even a Ningxia premium starter kit. So it could be any of the premium starter kits. They must purchase it in the same calendar month. Now, an awesome thing is if you have a retail customer, which if you've read the book, I call retail customers future wholesale members, because most of them end up converting at some point. So if you have a retail customer and they convert to a wholesale member and they purchase a premium starter kit in the month that they convert, you qualify to get the $25 one-time premium starter kit bonus. So it always behooves you to make sure you stay in contact with those retail customers and still provide them support. And every now and again, just nudge them a little bit about our opportunity, because you'd be surprised at some point that they convert. And again, this is paid to the enroller. So if you do strategic placement and you give someone the sponsorship and you keep the enroller, or you keep and stay the enroller, then you'll still qualify for the $25 PSK. I lost mine. There we go. Oh, unilevel. Sorry. So unilevel commissions. Unilevel are, I think, kind of the most straightforward commission that we offer. It's paid to the sponsor, and you have to place a 100 PV order to qualify. Again, if you're doing the 100 PV on ER, you automatically qualify for any paid commission. The nice thing about unilevel that makes it, I think, one of the more easy commission structures to understand are the rates that Young Living pays out are the same, no matter what rank you are. If you're executive, senior star, royal, it doesn't matter. You get paid 8% on level 1, 5% on level 2, 4% on level 3, 4% on level 4, and 4% on level 5. As you hit 5 levels deep, which at executive, you're earning on 5 levels deep on Unilevel. That's the furthest, the deepest rather, that Young Living will pay Unilevel on. Now, compression does affect this, which we're going to talk about. I just don't want to get into compression yet because it kind of can be confusing. Compression can affect this, but even a Royal is making a Unilevel on 5 levels deep, same as an executive. You earn deeper as you grow. So at executive, you're earning 5. At senior star, you're earning 4. At star, you're earning 3. And at a distributor rank with 100 PV, you're earning 2. That's something to keep in mind too. You can be a distributor and not even have technically a rank with 100 PV order and get paid on 2 levels deep of Unilevel. It is affected by fast start. We haven't gone over fast start yet, but I'll give you kind of a teaser. And I want you to just think about this. When Young Living pays out commissions, the fast start bonus is like by far the most expensive bonus they pay out because it's 25% to the enroller, 10% to the person who enrolled the enroller, plus all the other commissions they pay out. So it's a very expensive commission to pay out. So because of that, Unilevel commissions are reduced during the time a person is in fast start. And the way Young Living does that is they say, all right, and let's use easy numbers. Let's say you have someone in your team with 100 PV that maybe they just enrolled and bought a PSK. You would earn Unilevel not on the 100 PV. Young Living takes that PV amount and reduces it by 70%. So instead of getting paid on 100 PV, you would get paid on 30 PV. So if they're on your level 1, you would get paid 8% of 30 PV, which would be $2.40. That happens for those first 3 calendar months. While someone is in fast start, they reduce the Unilevel commission structure. So crucial to know that. I don't know what this blue line is on my screen. Did I do that? Oh, hang on. What am I doing? Unilevel. Okay, so these are 2 examples of Unilevel. Just to show you what Unilevel means, because you'd be surprised that maybe someone doesn't know, but you're at the top. People on your level 1, that's everyone that you personally sponsored. That's called your level 1. These are the people that you'll make 8% on. Now, if they're in their fast start period, you'll make 8% of that reduced PV amount. And then everyone that they personally sponsored is called your level 2. And the level 2 pays out 5%. So this is just an indicator to show you when we say level, what do we actually mean when we're looking at your downline to say level 1, level 2. Fast start bonus. This is actually a cool bonus. What's neat about fast start bonus is it really shows me that Young Living has 2 totally different ways to pay you, and it's very intentional. You have bonuses and you have commissions. Commissions are based on performance. They're based on volume. Bonuses are based on behavior. So if you think about fast start bonus, it's actually a bonus that you get paid on to drive a specific type of user behavior. The way it works is when you enroll someone for their first 3 calendar months, again, so let's say they sign up on the 20th of the month. That's calendar month 1 because it's the 20th. So for the first 3 calendar months, you get paid 25% of their PV. Now this also goes to the enroller. So if you do strategically place and give someone else the sponsorship and keep the enrollership, you get paid this 25% bonus for the first 3 calendar months. But here's the thing that kind of, I think, blows people away. Let's just pretend you enroll Sally today, whatever. Sally gets PSK and the PV is 100. So you're going to earn a $25 PSK bonus. You're going to earn $25 of fast start because 25% of 100 PV is $25, right? And you're like, wow, that's awesome. No, that's not what's awesome. What's awesome is that 10 years from now, Sally enrolls a new person. You get 10% of that new person for their first 3 calendar months. That's the amazing thing to me about Fast Start is that if you are enrolling and you are duplicating well to where those people are enrolling, when they enroll people 5, 10, 15 years from now, you are eligible to get 10% of that new enrollment for the first 3 calendar months, which is amazing. It's very powerful. And it's a great business building driver because if you know that by enrolling people and helping them enroll people, you continue to earn money long term. The business building behavior that it's promoting is that you're trying to duplicate, right? You're trying to help people do classes, share the product, enroll new members, because that's how you ensure that your Fast Start continues down the road. Now, with Fast Start, there are some what I call nitty-gritty items. One is that there's a maximum of $200 per month per member for what I call your level 1 enrollments. And just bear with me for a second. I use the term level 1 and level 2 when talking about enrollments, not to mean they're on your level 1 or level 2, but just to mean, did you personally enroll them, or did one of your enrollments enroll them? Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So on the people that you personally enroll, you can earn up to $200 per month on that member for those first 3 calendar months. Now, if you enroll 10 people, then that's $2,000 you could be earning, but $200 per member per month. On your level 2 enrollments, meaning that 10% portion of Fast Start, the maximum that you earn is $80 per member per month. Keep in mind, this is paid to the enroller. And the thing that trips up everybody that I get emails on, I'm not kidding, every single day, is that if you enroll someone, let's say Sally, and then 10 years from now, Sally enrolls Becky, you don't earn the 10% on Becky unless Sally places a 50 PV order. If Sally doesn't place a 50 PV order, you don't qualify for that additional 10% of Fast Start. And I see that all the time too. So here's what's funny though. If Sally enrolls Becky 10 years from now, Sally's missing a paycheck if she doesn't place a 50 PV order. So it behooves me to contact her and say, Sally, you just enrolled Becky. Did you know? I know you've been doing this for 10 years, but did you know that you'll earn $50 if you just place your 50 PV order on your new enrollment? And obviously, Sally will be like, yeah, I got an ER, which isn't processed yet. So my disclaimer, that I say disclaimer, it kind of gets in my craw. I'm from the South. If you don't know what that term is, it just means it gets on my nerves. I hear all the time leaders telling other members, hey, you make $50 when you sign up a new person. It's very confusing to a member to hear that, and then they don't really see how that breaks out. And you're shortchanging them, because if you sign up a new member with a PSK and they get $25 for the PSK bonus and 25% on Fast Start, yes, it is $50 if the person only purchases a PSK. But what if they want an Aroma Lux diffuser? Oh, and by the way, I'd like an Aroma Complete. Oh, and I'll take a 20-pack of Nisha. I mean, you don't know. So don't educate your members and say they earn $50. You should tell them you earn a $25 bonus for them purchasing a PSK and 25% of Fast Start, which can be $50 if they purchase just a premium starter kit. This is where we're going to jump into Rising Star. I'm telling you, this is like my favorite. I get excited about Rising Star because I think it's genius on Young Living's part. But before we get into Rising Star, I want to talk a little bit about duplication. So this chart is actually in the book. And first off, let me say it's impossible. Well, I'm not going to say impossible. It's not practical that your team is going to grow like this chart. It's really just an illustration. So I want you to just think about, let's just pretend you are an enrolling machine. You're like super enroller person. And every month, consistently, you enroll 2 people. So at the end of 12 months, at the end of a year, your total team size is going to be 25. You plus the 24 people that you enrolled. So now let's look at why network marketing is so powerful. That's why I get excited about it. Now, let's pretend you're not an enrolling machine, but you're actually a leader who's trying to help their team duplicate, because that's where leverage comes into our business. And you only enroll 1 person a month. So you're enrolling half the people than this other super duper enroller. You enroll 1 person a month, and every month you help them enroll 1 person. So at the end of the year, you've only enrolled 12 people, but you've duplicated that same technique of enrolling and teaching and duplicating to your team. At the end of 12 months, if you look at this chart, right, you start with you and you enroll 1 person, so you get 2 people. At the end of January, there's 2 people on your team. And then in January, both of you 2 enroll 1 person, so that's 2 new people. You have a team of 4. And if you carry this all the way down, you can see that at the end of the year, with just enrolling one person and duplicating, your team size is 4,096. Now, most leaders would probably say, I'll take the 496 instead of the 25. Now, the way you do that is you have to create techniques and use strategies that are going to help you duplicate your team, empower them to actually go out and share, teach, and enroll new members. And this is why I think Rising Star is so powerful. It helps us get on essential rewards, and it helps us duplicate. Now, if you look at Oily Tools, and I think you know what's wrong here? I need to update my ER points because they're new now. That's been changed. So we all know the benefits of ER. If you're not on ER, you should be on ER. Talk to somebody. They're going to help you get on ER. The reason we like ER from a pure business perspective is that if you look in Oily Tools on your stats page, and there's a couple metrics to look at. One is, what's my average PV per member? And all that does is say, if you took your whole team and you took your OGV, what's the average PV across all the members in your organization? And you compare that number to your average ER order size. Your average ER order size is typically 3 to 5 times what your average PV per member is. And primarily that's due to the fact that when people are on ER, they try more product. If you're like us and our family, we're addicted to getting free stuff from Young Living. I mean, that's like the most joy you can have is to get a huge box of ER stuff that was free and take a picture of it and post it on Facebook and say, look at all the stuff that I got for free. So we're addicted to that. People love loyalty programs. And if you're in Essential Rewards, you're typically doing transfer buying. So instead of using, lotion from XYZ lotion store, you're going to use lavender body lotion. And instead of using Bengay, you're going to grab Cool Azul pain cream, right? So we do what's called transfer buying. And Verick loves and Andy love when I say that. They use a different term. We call it transfer buying. So if you're using Colgate toothpaste, then you start buying Thieves toothpaste. So when people are on Essential Rewards, you find they do that much more frequently. And if they're doing that and transfer buying into the Young Living products, then their PV is going to be higher. With that PV being higher, it opens us up to get Rising Star Team bonus. And I'm telling you, I want you to pay really, really good attention to these next couple of slides, because if the only thing, and I mean this, if the only thing you walk away with is a really good understanding of Rising Star, this was well worth your time, I promise. So the first thing to know about Rising Star is it's what we call a share-based bonus. And all that means is that every month, the value of a share is different. And the value of that share is based on the commissionable sales in Young Living, meaning all the stuff they sell. So they take the PV of everything that they sell. That's what's the commissionable value, remember? And they take 1% of that value and they set it aside and they say, this is the Rising Star bonus pool for this month. And then they say, well, how many shares do we need to give out? How many people met the qualifications? How many shares do each of them get? And they divide one into the other, and that gives you the share value. Now, most every month, it's between $45 and $50 a share. I usually just assume 50 a share because it's easy math, and most of the time it's close to $50 a share. It's the only bonus. It's the only bonus, only commission structure in Young Living tied to Essential Rewards. And the reason I think it is tied to Essential Rewards is because of the business building power you get by people being on ER. Again, look at the stats. Your ER purchasers typically buy 3 times or more than people who aren't on ER. They buy more frequently because they want to keep their points going. They don't stop ER because they want to continue accruing points. So it's very, very powerful. I think it's incredibly intelligent on Young Living's part. You have to have 100 PV on ER to qualify. And the reason must is in all black is because one of the common emails I answer is, hey, I had ER, I have over 100 PV. Why am I not getting Rising Star? And it's because they placed a 70 PV order on Essential Rewards and 30 on a quick order. You have to have 100 PV on Essential Rewards. So they purchased enough product, they just didn't purchase it on Essential Rewards. That's why they didn't qualify. Now, you can earn up to 6 shares. And the way you earn shares is a stair-stepped approach. And I don't know why, and I need to put this graphic in here, but I, for some reason, always think about The Price is Right. There's this game where there's this yodeling guy going up the mountain. I don't know if you guys remember that game. I always think of that game when I think about the Rising Star. Because you have to start at the bottom, and you can't get to the top until you earn the first share. And then after you, or first shares, we'll call it. And then after you earn the first set of shares, you can go to the second and then to the third. So to earn the first share, you have to have 3 level 1 people. Those are personally sponsored people with 100 PV on Essential Rewards and an OGV of 300 or more. And again, I'll stress, it has to be 100 PV on ER. And this is super common where a person will have over 100 PV and even over 300 OGV, but they didn't purchase 100 PV on Essential Rewards. Very, very critical. That earns you 3 shares. Oh, excuse me, 1 share. So that gets you $50. The next stage, we'll call it, of Rising Star is you have to have 2 more people with 100 PV on Essential Rewards. You'll see a pattern here, and an OGV of 500 OGV or more. That gets you 2 more shares, additional shares. So now you're at 3 total shares, which gives you about $150. Then the final stage of Rising Star is you need 2 more people. And that's wrong. I should say 2 more people, not 3 more people. 2 more people, each having 100 PV on Essential Rewards. You see the pattern. You got to be on 100 PV ER, and all of them got to be on 100 PV ER. So you have to have 2 more people, each having 100 PV on Essential Rewards and having 1,000 OGV. Now, that gets you 3 additional shares for a total of 6 shares. If you're earning 6 shares of Rising Star, that's a $300 pay increase. Now, the $300 pay increase is not, it's not bad. It's awesome. But it's not what I get excited about. I want you to think about for a second, how many legs does it take to hit Royal? 6. Take 6 legs. If you have Rising Star and you add up all the legs required to get the full 6 shares of Rising Star, how many legs do you have on Essential Rewards? 7. So you end up with 6 legs all on Essential Rewards, and you get a bonus leg, like a security leg in case another leg calls in sick. Put legs everywhere. Now, the way you make this powerful is through this whole duplication idea, right? If Rising Star is this powerful mechanism to get people on ER, and we know that if they're on ER, they're purchasing more product, which is going to help us grow our business with less people. Then if you're duplicating Rising Star to your team and helping them get on Essential Rewards and their first level people on Essential Rewards, then the amount of duplication that you can get in your team it's massive, because you're making good money on the shares. The share value is roughly $50 each. You're increasing your paycheck roughly $300, and you're preparing the foundation to go all the way to Royal, all the way, with an extra leg to spare. Now, there are a few, again, I call them nitty-gritties in the book. You can earn a maximum of 6 shares, right? Stage 1 is 1 share, and then stage 2 is 2 additional, and then stage 3 is 3 additional. So you add all those up, and that's 6 total shares. You only can qualify for Rising Star for 24 months after the first time you earn it in Young Living. So let's say, you earn Rising Star this month. 24 months from now, even if you meet all of the OGV and ERPV requirements, you don't qualify for it. And it's purposeful, right? Young Living's trying to nudge you to go to a higher rank where there are we'll just say there's a lot of abundance as you climb the rank, right? So to get you kind of out of the Rising Star stage and into the generation stage as you hit silver, they want to limit that Rising Star. Compression doesn't help you qualify. Again, we're going to talk about compression. It's one of the more advanced topics, but if someone's on your level 2, they can't compress to your level 1 and help you qualify for Rising Star. That's what that means. And again, most important commission, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, but I think it's the most important compensation structure that we have in terms of using it as a tool to grow a very successful business. Christy and I didn't actually know about Rising Star when we first got started. So, yeah, now it's something I tell everybody about if they'll let me. A couple of rising star face palms. These are examples straight from the book. I call them face palms because it's like, oh, that burns. So if you look at this person and you look at the bottom left of this graphic, again, this is a simulated downline. It's not a real downline. But if it's a white circle, it's the ERPV. If it's a black circle, it's the PV. So let's look at these level 1 people. The first one's got over 100 PV on ER. Awesome. They have over 300 OGV. Awesome. The second leg, directly under me, has 100 PV on ER. Also has more than 300 OGV. Awesome. The third person has over 100 PV on ER and has over 300 OGV. Awesome. I should get a share of Rising Star. Nope. Because I only did 50 PV on Century Wards. So my team's crushing it all on ER, doing 100, have over 300 OGV, and I didn't place the necessary 100 PV on a Century Wards to get Rising Star. So that really burns. Here's another one. I love the product. I bought $150 worth of product, but I didn't do it on Century Wards. And if you look at the downline's perfectly eligible to pay me Rising Star, but I didn't do the 100 PV on a Century Wards myself to qualify for the Rising Star. So it's another, I call it facepalm. And the last one, this is the one I think stings people the most, because here I am. I did 150 PV on a Century Wards. I'm crushing it. My first 2 legs are over 100 PV on a Century Wards. Both have over 300 OGV. And my third leg is on a Century Wards, but only did 50 PV. And they have over 300 OGV. So I don't get Rising Star because that third leg doesn't have the needed 100 PV on ER requirement for me to get Rising Star. This is the one I think burns the most, because you're like, oh, I did everything. They just didn't do enough on ER. That's how it goes. Compression. So compression is a pretty advanced topic. If you don't get it tonight, don't even worry about it. What I'll tell you is that if you're an executive member or below, compression doesn't affect you a ton, but I guess it can. Compression usually affects you higher because there's just more people in the team. But the important thing to know about compression is it's unique to not to Young Living, but it's unique in our compensation plan because it maximizes the amount of money you can make, and it maximizes your rank qualification. So in Young Living, if someone is on your level 2 and their sponsor on your level 1 doesn't place a 100 PV order, that person on your level 2 virtually, meaning you don't ever see this in the VO, it's not really moving, it's just virtual, that level 2 person virtually becomes your level 1 person purely for the purpose of rank qualification and commission payout. Meaning, instead of you making 5% on that level 2 person on unilevel, you'll make 8% because they virtually rolled up to your level 1. It's considered a roll up. That's what a lot of people call it. It helps a lot when someone fizzles, and this is what I love about Young Living, right? Let's pretend you got someone on your front line. They were just killing it, blazing a trail through Young Living. They build this beautiful organization, and they just decide for whatever reason that they don't want to continue the business. They're not purchasing the product anymore, so they start ordering below 100 PV. Now, if we didn't have compression, that could make you miss a rank, because in order for them to be a qualifying leg, they have to have 100 PV. So what Young Living says is, you know what? If that person isn't fully isn't doing 100 PV, I'll virtually take their level 1 people and make them your level 1 people, and we'll see if by doing that, it allows you to make rank. It's actually really, really cool. And to be perfectly honest, Young Living doesn't have to do it, but they still do it for us, and it helps us get rank and maximize our earnings because our unilevel commission is higher because that person virtually rolled up our team. From an Oily Tools perspective, commission is very computationally expensive, so we only perform compression on the first 5 days of the month. Now, if you're in the Oily Tools Facebook group, you learn that we are doing a ton of changes for our next Oily Tools Pro release. Hopefully, it's going to come out in December. This is actually something we're going to tackle. We're not going to be doing compression on days 1 through 5 anymore. because we're going to start converting to the new month on day 1. And we're going to be pulling data at the same time. We're going to pull data for the new month. And a couple of times a day, we're going to pull data for the old month. And while we're pulling data for the old month, we'll apply compression to it. So this is a little bit, and it's not outdated. It's still the way it works today. But come December-ish time frame, we will do compression differently in Oily Tools to help people convert to the new month faster. So you just, for now, know that we do apply compression on days 1 through 5. So let's look at an example. On the left is again, simulated downline, doesn't really exist. We got this nice person at the top, 100 PV. Their level 1 person only placed a 30 PV order, and then under them are 2 100 PV orders. On the right is virtually what happens with compression. Hang on, I'm getting some alerts so I can chat maybe. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, let me answer this question real quick. I'm sorry I didn't have the chat open. I apologize. So someone said, since Rising Star is for executive and below only, if someone is a silver and drops down to executive, can they qualify? Yes, that's actually a great question. So 24 months, you are eligible to get Rising Star. So let's pretend you're an executive, you're in month 6 because you're blazing. You're going to get silver in 6. Let's just say you're an executive, it's your 6th month in executive, you get silver. And then for whatever reason, at some point at month 9, you fall back to executive. You still can earn Rising Star in that case. Just after 24 months, that's when Young Living won't pay Rising Star out anymore. So hopefully that helps. So on the right, we've got this simulated what happens with compression. And again, I want to make sure I stress this very clearly. You don't ever see this. This is something that just happens virtually in the Young Living commission calculation and in Oily Tools to do this kind of spring compression of your downline to maximize your rank and to maximize what we actually pay out as a company to the distributor. So you don't ever see this anywhere, but you really should understand it because it helps out a lot. It's super powerful. And I'm just going to tell you from my heart, Young Living doesn't have to do this, right? They could easily, in this example say, all right, well, this person has a 30 PV, so they're not a qualifying leg. You can get unilevel on them, but they can't qualify you for rank. But they don't do that. They do this compression to help see if by compressing we can still make the rank we need and get higher unilevel commissions, which I think is amazing. Generations. This is another, I'll call semi-advanced topic or advanced topic. If you struggle with generations, I hope this helps. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best. People ask all the time, I have no idea what a generation is. Because mentally, we're constantly thinking about levels, right? I enrolled Sally. She's on my level 1, and Sally enrolls Becky, and she's on my level 2. You gotta completely forget about levels. They have nothing to do with generations. So the way generations work is that as you parse, or and I hate to use a technical term, but when you traverse your team, your downline, as soon as you hit a silver or above, a new generation is born. So let's just pretend I am, let's say, a gold, and on my front line I have a silver and another silver. That means that both of those silvers start generation 2. On a different example, let's say I have no silvers on my front line, but I have a silver on my level 2. That just means that level 2 silver starts generation 2. You have to completely divorce the idea of where they're at in your downline, and what you're really concerned with is how many silver plus leaders are between me and this person I'm trying to figure out what generation they are. Now, one of the powerful things about Oily Tools is that we calculate generations all day, every day. So you can open up any person in your downline and look at what is the current generation that they belong to based on where everyone's at in your team and what their ranks are currently, which is also really computationally expensive, but it's super necessary. You make up your own personal generation. Sometimes you'll hear people call it generation 1 or personal generation. That means the same thing. It's literally the same terminology. If I'm a gold and I have a silver on my front line, I'm generation 1. That silver starts generation 2. So everyone in your downline is part of your personal generation. If you are silver right now, and you have no silvers in your team, or if you're gold right now and have no silvers or golds in your team, that just means that everybody in your team is in your personal generation. And at some point, when people start busting ranks and making silver and higher, they start new little generations. And you get paid on generations in Young Living. You get paid a commission, and you get paid a bonus. And there's a tip. It's in the book. I won't go into detail here. And it's just basically saying if you take any person in your downline, just pluck them out of the air, and you look at their upline, and you count the number of silver plus leaders between you and them, that tells you the generation number. This is an example. So let's just say you're silver, and on your front line you have the silver member, and you have two and they could be executive or senior star or star. I just use the word member to say non-silver. If you look at the number that's in the circle, that's explaining to you what generation they are. So if I'm a silver, I'm generation 1. I am my own personal generation. I go to this first leg on the left, they are not a silver plus leader, which means they are still in generation 1. And I go to their downline, which is a star. They are not silver plus, so they're still in my personal generation. When I go to the second leg in the middle, that person is the silver, so they start generation 2. In their downline is a senior star and another silver. The senior star is still in generation 2 because there's no other, they're not silver or above, so we don't increase the number of generation. But there's a silver, which we do say, okay, now another generation is born, so they're generation 3. And if you look at that last leg, the first person is not silver plus, so they're generation 1. And then when you go into their downline, they have a gold, which is the first silver plus leader that I've hit so far in this leg. That's generation 2. And their sibling, which is a star, stays as generation 1. The reason this is so important is because depending on the rank you're at in Young Living, you get paid a bonus or a commission on people at specific generation levels. That's why it's important to know what generation a person is. It's also a share-based bonus in Young Living, just like Rising Star. So remember, Rising Star Young Living says, hey, we're going to take 1% of all commissionable sales, and that's going to be our Rising Star pool. That's how they do Rising Star. For Generation Bonus, they say we're going to take 6.25% of all commissionable sales, and that's the Generation Bonus pool. So because it's a share-based bonus, the value of the share changes a little bit every single month. Now, for estimating purposes, I always use 150. It's an easy number. It's usually between $140 to $150. So I use 150 because it's just easy math for me to do it that way. You earn shares for yourself and for those in your downline. If I'm silver, I earn 1 share. If I'm gold, I earn 2 shares. Platinum, 3, keeps going up. So silver, you earn 1 share, and for every rank you earn above silver, you add an additional share. The depth that you earn on, meaning the generation depth, not level depth, the generation depth that you earn on is based on whatever your current rank is. And this is just a quick tip, and I'm a math nerd, so maybe you don't like these tips, but if you take a person's rank, like Royal, which is the 10th rank in Young Living, and you subtract 4, that tells you how many shares they earn on themselves. 6. If you're silver, which is rank 5 out of 10, and subtract 4, they earn 1 share on themselves. That's how you know how many shares a rank earns. To know what depth you earn on, you take the rank and subtract 2. So at silver, which is rank 5, if you subtract 2, that gives you 3. Meaning as a silver, you earn on 3 levels of generation. Your personal generation plus 2 more. Gold is rank 6, so 6 minus 2 is 4. So as a gold, I earn on my personal generation plus 3 additional generations. Does that make sense? So at Royal, you earn on 8 generations. Yourself plus 7 additional generations. You earn 1 share for silver, and as you grow, as I said, you get 1 additional share as you grow each rank. So gold earns 2. Now, when you're silver, you earn 1 share for yourself, and if there's a silver in your team and their generation value is 2 or 3, you will earn a share for them, roughly $150. This is where, the compensation plan explodes for people at high ranks who are really helping other people get what they want. I can't remember who said it. If you help people get what you want, you'll have everything that you want. And this is the epitome of an expression to show that. If you're helping people in your team reach the ranks of silver and gold and platinum, diamond, you get handsomely rewarded for that. And that goes wide, right? Meaning, if I take every person in my team and I do my little generation trick and say, well, what generation are they? If I'm a silver and that generation number is either 2 or 3, I get a share on them. So let's say you're royal. Let's say you're a royal crown diamond. They earn on 8 total generations. So if they do that generation hack and the person in there is the number 2 through 8, they earn a share on them. And if they're gold, they earn 2 shares. And if it's platinum, they earn 3 shares. And if it's diamond, you get it? Like, it adds up super fast. It's super powerful, very powerful. So here's an example. I'm gold at the top. These are the generations, right? So I'm gold at the top. I'm generation 1. Then I've got a silver in my downline that is generation 2. And if you see there's another silver in my level 3 that is a generation 3. This is just another example of looking at what the generations are for this simulated downline. So what we want to look at is, and I don't have a slide in here for this, but let's just talk through it because I think it's important. Just pretend with me for a moment that the person at the top here is silver and the person down here on that level 3 is a gold. Because I want to point something out very specific to you. Let's pretend the person at the top is a silver and the person down at the bottom down there is a gold. I'm going to earn 1 share for myself because I'm a silver. And your initial thought is that, I'm going to earn 2 shares on that gold. But you don't. You only earn 1 share because there's a rule that says you can only earn as many shares on someone in your downline that you can earn for yourself. So if you're a silver with a royal crown diamond in your downline, which that would be crazy if that's true, but let's just say it happens, you can only earn 1 share on the royal because you can only earn 1 share for yourself. Now, if I'm silver, I jump up to gold, I'm earning 2 shares on myself now, and if that person at level 3 is a gold, I'll earn 2 shares on them at that point. So it's just key to know that you can only earn as many shares on people in your downline as you can on yourself. Generation commission, you use the same generation technique to find out what generation a person is in, but you get paid on, and I'm not going to say the OGB, this is another thing where people, I think, get a little confused on. When we calculate generation commission, we say, go find everyone in your downline that is generation 1. I'm going to add up all the PV, taking fast start into account. That's the key phrase, taking fast start into account. If a person is in fast start, I'm not going to use all of their PV. I'm going to use 30% of their PV. So I add up all these PV numbers, taking fast start into account, and then you get paid 2.5% on that number. And then I say, and I'm pretending you're silver here, because that's what you have to be to get this, to start getting this. Then I'm going to say, go find everyone in your downline that is a generation 2, add up all the PV, taking fast start into account, and I'm going to pay you 3% on it. And I'm going to go do the same exact thing for your generation 3, because that's what you earn on as a silver, personal generation plus 2 additional generations. Now, the percentages that Young Living pays out are exactly the same no matter what your rank is. You only earn deeper as you grow in rank, meaning even a royal makes 2.5% on their personal generation and 3% on their generation 2. It's the same percentage for every rank in Young Living. As you grow in rank, you earn deeper on your generation pay. Same thing with the a tip here. If you want to know, how deep someone earns in generation commissions, you just take the rank, meaning a royal is 10, and take 2 from it. So a royal earns on 8 generations. A silver, which is rank 5, take away 2, it's 3. So they earn on 3 total generations. Personal generation plus 2 additional generations. Professional accounts, these I don't talk about a ton because because they're not super common, but the important thing to know about professional accounts is that Young Living reduces the PV by 50%. So if you look in the VO at someone that's a professional account on your team, that PV's already been reduced. They reduce that so that when you see it in the VO, it's already reduced. And then what Young Living pays on it is unilevel commission, basically. It's 8, 5, 4, 4, and 4. It's paid based on what level they're at. So if you have a professional account on your level 2, you'll earn 5% after they take their PV and reduce it by 50%. And people go, well, why do they do that? That's not fair. Well, it is fair because Young Living, for a professional account, they purchase products at 40% off the retail price. So Young Living's already given 40% to the professional account because they go resell the product in like their practice or their herbal store or oil store or whatever they have. So that's why they reduce the PV and pay a reduced unilevel commission on it. And you know what? That is it. So the things that I would say that we haven't talked about, one is you can get the book at imdrivenforsuccess.com, and there's a free book study at kind of the same website. If you go to imdrivenforsuccess.com/book-study, it's a free online 5-week self-paced book study that helps you with the book even more. If you have the book and you go to these, let me find just a quick one real quick. So I'll just show this. This is just an end of a chapter. It's called Exercise Your Brain. At the end of every chapter are these exercises, and you have to do real math, like with pencil and paper and calculators and cursing and Jake the whole time. If you do the math, there's also explanations on how I got each of the answers. The book study is a little bit different in that when you break the book up into 5 weeks, you read a couple chapters for each of those weeks. At the end of that week, there is a video that kind of reviews the material, and there's even more questions, but they're not math questions. They're more like kind of reading comprehension questions. So the only math you have to do are the word problems that are in the book. And if something, didn't make 100% sense with you tonight, it is totally okay. It's a lot of information. Understand that I've lived the comp plan literally for 3 years. So this is something I am in every single day of my life with Oily Tools and with the Driven for Success book. It takes time, but what I'll tell you is that you should take this with the idea that you have to study it. It's not like a book that you can read and at the end go, man, it's a good book. I'm glad I read that because it's going to be an awesome book because I wrote it. I'm just saying. But you have to study the material. The reason there's a book study is because, people were just blazing through the book after like a day or two. And at the end of the day, this is my personal belief. If you read it that fast, you're not going to retain the material. If you break it into small chunks over the course of 3, 4, 5 weeks, actually do the math problems, go through the book study, watch the video, answer the additional questions. At the end of it, I promise people, and I don't make a lot of absolutes, if you read the book, do all the exercises, you will know the comp plan better than corporate. I mean, without question. I get the opportunity and privilege to answer questions every single day from people about the compensation plan, and many of them start with customer support told me. So if you can really kind of master the comp plan, know it better than even what corporate does, what customer support does, you could be a great kind of influence to your team and help them really see what the opportunity and abundance potential that we have in Young Living. I've looked at a lot of different compensation plans, primarily because I'm a geek and I want to make sure that our compensation plan is awesome, and it is. It's actually a really, really solid compensation plan. There's a ton of abundance available for us. We just have to do the work of making sure we understand it so that we can coach and teach our teams to make sure they understand it. We have this very simple phrase in our house when it comes to business, and that's revenue minus expense equals income. And if you don't know how you make money in Young Living, you have no clue about the revenue. So even if you're like a baller and know all your expenses, you write them all down, you got Mile IQ and TaxBot, that's fantastic. But if you don't understand the revenue side of it, you still won't actually have a full understanding of what your income potential is. So revenue minus expense equals income. We use it in our house all the time. Sometimes we hate each other because we say it, and Christy doesn't like it, or I don't like it, depending on the conversation. So that's it. I don't know if I missed any questions. Am I over time, Verick?
No, Jay, you can take all the time you need, man. You're
So if you guys have any questions, and specifically, I'm totally happy to answer them. I'm going to look back real quick to see if I missed any. And like I said, I'll make sure too that I convert this presentation into a PDF. I'm going to make a few fixes, like the ER points that we earn. I forgot that was out of date, but I'll get that over to Verick in a PDF, and then Verick and Crystal can get that out to you guys, so you got an actual copy of everything that we looked at today. Let's see. How on earth did someone think about all this and figure this out? Oh, I don't know. A bunch of nerds, math nerds. That's what we do. Did you record this, Verick? Someone said they're going to rewatch it. So did you record this, everybody?
It's
okay,
being
awesome.
recorded right now, and as soon as I can get it saved in my computer, I'll upload it to Business Builders.
Let's see. Website for the books. So I think I saw a link posted for that later. And then Verick, if you don't mind, make sure everybody gets a link to the free book study.
Absolutely.
That way they have that. Oh, awesome! Someone said it really helped them. I do. I think I'm telling you, if you really read the book and study it, you'll know it better than corporate. I don't see any additional questions in there.
Okay. Well, Jake,
I answered every question exactly right. That's crazy.
I'll
put this in here too.
Anyway, I think the last men's advance, I was asked to talk a little bit about the comp plan, and Jake stopped me right in the middle of it. It was something I didn't understand, and it was the 10%. Like, you can get 10% off that person, off the 25% if they sign up somebody 5 years later. And I was thinking it was a 3-month window. Jake's like, no. You're wrong. I'm like, dude, come up here and you just teach us, because
I mean, how powerful is that though?
Very, very powerful.
They sign someone up 10 years from now, and you can still get 10% off of that new person. That blows my mind. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So if there's no more questions, Jake, thank you so much for taking your time up on a Monday night at the end of the month to explain something to us that while we've looked at it a ton, a lot of us, some of us are still walking out of here kind of looking for some duct tape to put around our heads so we don't explode from the amount of information you've given us. But thank you so much, and for making it clear and making it on a level we can understand. We still have to study it, but still making it on a level we can all understand. Now, the people who are in the meeting still, I put us into a meeting instead of a webinar, so we cut off some people. They weren't able to get it. So as soon as this is over, I'm getting it and putting it on the computer, putting it on Business Builder, so everybody that missed it will still be able to access this later on tonight. But Jake, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for taking time out to come and listen to this, and taking time out on a Monday night. Crystal and I really appreciate it, and once again, too much to you, Jake. Just amazing work, and thank you, Christy, for letting you have this Monday night off to where you can share with us. So thank you. I'm going to end the recording now and end the meeting. Everyone have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, we'll announce the giveaway on Business Builder. So thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.